everyone comes to Joburg with a mission, I think. I'm gonna show them, you know what I mean? And just like, yeah, like strive for like excellence from yourself. I think from the moment I landed in Joburg, I knew that I had to make things happen, you know, quickly. I have a very big vision of how everything is going to pan out for my life, and my biggest fear is not achieving all those things that I set out for myself. We're here backstage. I've just had my show. I feel it's always such a sad thing, weirdly enough, you know, because you work so hard and then, you know, those 6 minutes and it's over. But like, I also feel so invigorated, you know, when you're working on a collection. All it ever is, it's just like garments on a table or pieces of fabric and patterns, but you know, seeing it on actual people and seeing how it comes together just like packages everything so beautifully. And yeah, it keeps this moment keeps on reminding me why one of the things, you know, why I love what I do.
LVMH Prize for Young Fashion Designers is awarded to
Grace Wells Bonner.
Drumroll. Marine
Prix LVMH 2018 et doublette.
And the special prize is
my machinist and I think didn't sleep at all for one of the nights, just going through like the looks and sewing and doing everything. The day arrived that I had to leave for Paris, and it was my first time there. The second judge to walk in was Anna Winter, so it was just high level people going through our clothes. And Naomi Campbell was one of them. Bella and Gigi were there. There's so many people. Like 63 of the gatekeepers who really determine what happens in fashion.
Isn't it an amazing thing that I believe there were 1,900 people who apply, and that out of the final 8, 9, what's the final?
It's come to final of 8.
Yes. So out of the final of 8, there are 2 Africans, and I think that's something to be pretty proud of.
He wanted this for a very long time, so I'm so happy for him. I'm very, very happy. You know, I saw it like coming because the way he was dressing himself and all that. And then one day he just said, Mama, you know what? I'm going to do fashion at Lysol. Then I said, no, man, I don't know Lysol. He said, no, man, it's a fashion school, what. I said, but okay, it's okay because I can see that he loves fashion.
He was a weird child, you know, we expect him to be playing around, you know, with cars and you know, with other guys, soccer for sure. But no, he was always indoors, you know, busy with something, you know, reading, cutting, you know, and all those things. So yeah, he was always an indoor weird child, eh?
I used to get these inboxes when Facebook started, which was in 2009. It was from Trevor Sturman and Thebe. And one of the things that used to send me were the photo shoots that he used to do in Kimberley. But he was completely like OTT for that time. He used to have this signature where he used to make like big bows out of Chinese bags, and it would be completely like OTT. From there we started communicating. I waited for him and the taxi rang. He was traveling all the way from Kimberley for the David Callis show on the bridge.
Wow, that was actually my official first time in Joburg. For David Callis' show, I think I was 16 when I crashed that show. And I thought it'd be very interesting to crash David Callis' show wearing this massive bow on my head. And I remember it caused such a scene. I think, what's her name? She's very controversial. Kuli Roberts. I remember.
the most atrocious fashion. Why is he wearing that hideous hat? A lot of these people are Joburg people, and I'm disgusted at the fact that a lot of these people are from Joburg and they come here and they dress like trash. I mean, look at that woman, and like, did she even brush that hair? I mean, hello, really? My hair costs $7 grand and I brush it.
Kuli Roberts was just like saying, why would I come dressed this crazy? And it was just exciting, you know, to see like how fashion brings up these like emotions in people.
He understands history beyond kitsch and retro. He takes that and he gives it new elements of grandeur, and he gives it a new element of black beauty and black aesthetics without it being an Ankara print. For me, that makes it an interesting take on where we are and where we need to be in terms of interpretation, what is African and what the world needs to absorb from us.
Fashion can be such a powerful vehicle for change and to really talk about pressing issues, you know. So within my own collection, I always try and have the aesthetic, yes, but also have something a bit more intelligent to it. With every passing collection, it's actually named after a university subject that closely correlates to what I'm feeling that particular season. So for example, with geology a few seasons ago, I was just personally going through a very tough time, and there was all these ideas of, you know, escape and going into like the outdoors. So that's how geology came about, and there's a lot of fishing references, hiking references, just the ideas of not being within like an urban environment. Home economics was an exploration of the conditions women find themselves in South Africa, how women are perceived, you know, in what is still is essentially quite a misogynistic sort of country. For that, I had to look at 50s references, you know, those sort of stereotypical things like women belong in the kitchen. And the colorway for home economics, for example, was informed by all the chemicals under the kitchen sink. So there's a lot of sulfuric yellows and alkaline pinks and purples, like those chemical colors, and that's how that informed the collections. With art history, I started thinking about art and how people actually turn to art to deal with their own sort of personal trauma. For example, one of the garments, when I was much younger, my mother always used to tell me to write down all my nightmares, no matter how bad they were. And I happened to find those journals a few months ago, and I had that printed onto Duchess satin, and I had that pleated on top of that. So, you know, this beautiful garment came out. It was like a boxy tee with like a pleated skirt, and from afar you just see this text on it, and like certain parts of it were purposefully ripped to make it look like a torn journal. But like this beauty is from essentially quite a dark place. With this one, the subject I have decided to go to is African studies. I wanted to merge, you know, motifs and prints and references from my own culture with very tailored, forward-looking shapes, like that juxtaposition. We're here because I have my fittings tomorrow and I need a zip quite urgently. So we're here at the Fashion District Wholesalers, where I often just buy all my trims and bits and bobs. I think when it comes to sourcing for fabrics and trims in South Africa, you have to be just very, very discerning, because, you know, we don't have the best resources. So you really have to just be very aware and sure of what you're getting and test it as much as you possibly can. You see this building right here? This is actually where I do my pleating. Everything is so close, you know. Where I stay, it's the pleating that's right here. And then it's where I do my fabric printing, which is even closer to where I stay. And then the fabric shops are just scattered all around you. So I think it's just so convenient staying in Yeovil, because it really supports what I do, weirdly enough.
Hello.
Fittings are just so intimate, and like I'm seeing things for myself for the first time, because I still have to fix some dresses and stuff like that. So fittings I find quite personal. I'm trying to make it a bit more relaxed, but I know still says that there's a full crew from coming, which that stuff like that stresses me out. Like, I think creatives are almost celebritized, you know, and I think that's the most challenging thing with navigating all that, because I'm not that type of person, and like I'm constantly put in situations that people with that sort of personality thrive in, but I'm not that type of person. I mean, sometimes I feel really bad because people make you feel bad, like, why would you, it's like you need it, it's publicity, it's that, but like it's forcing me to be something I'm not, and that's the very difficult thing. I've always even put myself below my work, because like everything that I do is focused towards the work. I quite enjoy that because that means it's about the brand, not necessarily about me.
I think social media made it much easier for them, you know, so if they have a talent to present themselves and like package it nicely, they are seen. It's much easier, and at the same time also much more pressure on them, because they need to keep feeding those channels. As Thebe grows and as he becomes now a proper fashion company, you know, so then there will be all these departments necessary, marketing and media, PR, and then somebody will do it for him, and there will be a strategy plan. Or when a designer is a one-man or one-woman show, then they need to really be very good in deciding what they want to do with the brand and what it means to them.
I just want my brand to sort of be I just want it to be a place of refuge for people, not only to get beautiful clothes and to always feel incredible and like functional in these clothes, but to also learn things about, you know, our continent and our country. Especially, I just want to have a very smart brand that almost gives people something more than just clothes.
It's about trying to build for them or help them build a business, because a lot of people are at different levels when they win these things of development, but a lot of them really haven't got much beyond really selling a few dresses to the local place. Of course, the whole online thing has opened up this wonderful space for people to sell their wares, so that is all very good. But the Louis Vuitton Award really is about mentoring the designers to understand the importance of having somebody who makes it financially viable what they're doing.
Participation probably will give all these designers so much exposure to all of us, to the world of fashion.
And you know, they're not all successful. I don't want to name names, but there's one who got the award and somehow never got anywhere. You know, it's not a magic wand. And I think if it is a magic wand, if you call it that, you've also got to realise that someone has got to move the magic wand very carefully around to make it worthwhile.
In very basic terms, I really do want to make sure that I am happy in the life I'm living, but I also want to make sure that if ever I do leave, God forbid, like I would have contributed something quite solid to not only the industry but the world in general. I just want to have made an impact and have positively contributed to something bigger than myself.